Ed Gein, he made lampshades out of skin. He had body parts all around his house. He is the inspiration for the movie Psycho, for the movie Silence of the Lambs.
It was here the police found a sex torture chamber inside.
When police uncovered the bodies of 27 young men buried at Gacy's home, they assumed they'd be deluged with phone calls.
Since Gacy's arrest, Des Plaines police have been monitoring hundreds of calls from concerned parents of missing boys.
Charles Manson, the quintessential serial killer.
The 35-year-old defendant, known as the Freeway Killer, had been found guilty of picking up his young victims in a van.
Why did you murder my daughter? And why did you kill her and leave her in a ditch? And all the other girls that you did this to. Why?
Welcome to the Tangent Podcast. Here are your hosts, back together from their days on Court TV radio, on Sirius XM, Albert Wunsch the Third, Vinnie Politan, and the one, the only, radio legend, Glenn Jones.
Topic today is, where have all the serial killers gone? Oh, it sounds like a song. You know, where have all the serial killers gone?
Well, we just arrested one on Long Island.
We just arrested one, but if you take a look, okay, because I do research. I don't go on here and just make up stuff or anything along those lines, usually.
Like you do with your trials.
Well, that goes without saying. State versus Smith has worked very well for me on a number of cases. And then it's also State versus Williams, another one that the judge goes, where does it say that? I go, well, there's so many of them. But in 1970, there were approximately 300 serial killers on the loose in the United States. In 1980, that dropped down to 250. Now we're down to like 50. Okay, in the period of time that we are in now, in the 2000s. So,
are these serial killers that are on the loose, or are these
serial killers that are operating and doing killing serial?
That was like pretty scary, though, that there's 50 serial killers roaming around the country. I mean, that's still a little scary.
But it's scary, but it's a question. It's not as scary as 300, though.
But if you included the mass shootings, which are not serial killers, totally different.
We don't.
If you included those, would the numbers be similar?
Well, but we don't. Spree killing is not serial killing.
Right, but there wasn't a lot of spree killing back then either.
No, there wasn't. And the reason, that's an interesting question.
Okay, so
why do we have less serial killers? Okay, well, first of all, society has changed markedly since 1970. Okay, back in those days, parents just used to let the kids go out and you were gone. You were gone for the full day. Okay, you would leave with your bike in the morning on Saturday, come home for dinner time Saturday
and
night.
by dark. You try to be home by dark.
And you're exactly right. Okay, nowadays everything is play dates. Okay, everything is structured and things along those lines. Kids don't hitchhike. There's no hitchhiking anymore. You don't see that anymore. Back in the 70s, that was an adventure. That was something that was fun to do on the throughway.
Stop over. It was Uber. It was the original.
That's exactly right.
Uber.
And that's exactly right. So you had that, but also we have cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they used to write songs about hitchhiking. What was it? Hitching a Ride?
Yeah, Hitching a Ride. Gonna hitch a ride, head to the other side by Boston.
Yeah, there was a thing. The kids today, they
hitchhike, Marvin Gaye.
Exactly. They don't know. I think, and we were always told, though. I think we were of the age where it was just at the point where people were like, "Hey, you know what? That hitchhiking might be a little dangerous." So I remember getting the talk. Hey, after school, if you don't have a ride, don't hitch home. That would be the thing. Don't hitch home. And so I kind of learned early that we weren't supposed to do it. Even if it was raining and you're going to get wet, just walk home. Don't hitch.
And back in the 70s and the late 60s, you saw that kids were doing that. That was the adventure. That was the ticket to ride, as they would say, was to be able to, go on an adventure and things along those lines. But the fact that we have cameras, we also have DNA analysis that is so incredibly exactly. Swab it over. Look at that. Just anyone take a sample of that, please, and we'll compare it to something that's going on in New Jersey presently. But the scenario that you have is that the DNA analysis is so incredible now that they're able to
get away with it on a continuous basis. What ends up happening is they'll get DNA from a scene and they'll put it in the system, right? In the big system. So if there's a murder in a different city, a different state, they throw it in the system, say, wait a minute, we got a hit. We don't know whose DNA it is, but the same killer's responsible for this case and that case, and now law enforcement is talking to each other.
So could this science be the reason? Could this be the reason why there are less serial killers? Because more of them are caught early on?
Well, no, it's also that they're not able to hide like they used to be able to hide. Okay, because of the fact that you have cameras everywhere, that you have people with phones that have cameras on them. Everything is
readers.
License plate readers, also, automatic toll devices. So, you have all of these different things that have made it easier. And the fact now that the police departments actually talk to each other.
Yeah.
Which was a big point that you brought.
Here's a big point. Let's bring this up to date. The Idaho killer, the one who's accused of murdering the 4 students. From my perspective, if this is the guy, I believe it is, his DNA was on a knife sheath at the scene, he gets caught. I believe this was his first time out, and he was going to become a serial killer. But he got caught the first time because a little bit of DNA was left behind, and there were surveillance cameras everywhere that caught this car. And as a result, and they tracked his phone. So they put him together with the car. They got the car on the video. They got his DNA on a knife sheet. So all the things that didn't exist back in the heyday of serial killing now exist. And we might have nipped one in the bud or the butt. What is that saying? Do you nip them in the bud or the butt?
In the bud. It's in the bud, but I don't know what it means.
It's like like a flower type situation.
Really? Because I've heard people say nip it in the butt. And
it's not nip it in the butt. Well, you know what? We've talked at another show about me being at the Scared Straight. They were talking about the butt at the Scared Straight program in Rahway Prison.
They were indeed.
And there was a nip it in the butt was the expression there. But we know what that was about. So, but here's an interesting question. I'm going to throw this out to two of you. What classifies a person as a serial killer?
Serialized murder.
Well, but how many? What's the number? What's the magic number
3
that you need?
It's not a magic number.
It is 3. That is correct. 3 killings of which, but one of them has to be in the United States, okay, which is interesting. But that's the way the FBI defines it. 3 killings, at least 1 in the United States, okay, with common characteristics such as to suggest the reasonable possibility the crime was committed by the same person or persons.
Saying operandi.
That's correct. Now, what's a spree murder? What's the difference of the spree murder? What's the number on spree?
Did you ever eat spree? There was a candy called Spree. Are you familiar with it?
Was it Spree?
What was it like?
It was like, there were little circles. Little candy tarts? Came in a patch. It was like,
sweet tarts?
There were sweet tarts and then there were Spree. And I used to get the Spree from Freezer Fresh. He was an ice cream man down on Long Beach Island. And he would show up in the green truck. His name was Ray. He was from Belleville. But the summers would work Long Beach Island. And he had the bells. And all the kids, when we heard Freezer Fresh's truck, we would race to get to the truck because whoever got there first would get to ring the bells on the pavilion. And the best was, if you were the one who rang the bells on the pavilion for Freezer Fresh, when you got back and gave him his bells back, he would give you a bubblegum cigarette.
Excellent.
Very nice. Very nice.
Bubblegum cigarettes. We made a candy looking like cigarettes in the segment.
I have a pack in my cabinet. They still sell them. They call them something different, I'm sure, but they still sell them.
But we called them candy cigarettes, and he had a bunch of Lucy's. He didn't sell them by the pack; they were Lucy's. and when you got it, because the gum would have like the little powder sugar on it, when you first got it, you could blow on it and a little bit of the powdered sugar would come out like smoke. And you never smoked a cigarette, but I was hooked on the freezer fresh bubblegum cigarettes.
And you wonder why, folks, why there was so many serial killers back in 1970s. Okay? Vinnie was getting all excited about it. Could you imagine?
I want to ring the ice cream man.
Here, Vin, come on in. You can ring the bell all day. Okay, come on in, little boy. And then that would have been it. And then there would not have been what would have happened? I would never have got on court TV if it wasn't for you. So, I mean, this would have, the whole destiny would have been destroyed. Boy, you got away from that one. And the guy that's from Belleville, that's snarky in and of itself, that you even knew that. Even more frightening. So, what other things did you know about the guy, too? What other stories did he tell you in the dark of the back of the ice cream truck?
He only delivered ice cream during the day. We only delivered.
Yeah, exactly.
I would be doing it at night. So, Mr. Softy would come through our neighborhood, and we'd hear the famous sound, the famous music. There was actually a town recently in New York that tried to ban the Mr. Softy music, and we would go running out. And I remember the guy spoke broken English, and when I ordered a shake, he would say large or small. And of course, me being a little fat kid would always say large. My brother, true story, was putting his pants on.
That's the jail one or the one in the mental institution? That's the guy I need. Is just a third one that became a spree killer. Which one is?
It's the jail one, the one that was in and out of prison.
Oh, all right. This ought to be good.
Okay, so the ice cream truck's coming when he's young, and I was too young to remember this. I was told about it. He apparently went to put his pants on real fast so he can get to the ice cream truck, and he didn't have any underwear on, right? And he snipped it, and it got caught. That happened to me once on a couch in Southern Pines, North Carolina, when the young lady's mother was entering the room. But that's a story for a different day.
Well, let's cut the small talk. But the important thing to remember, okay, now spree killing, 2 or more murders committed by an offender or offenders without a cooling off period.
Only 2?
2. That's spree killing.
See, I would have thought like
that's a double murder. That's a double murder. That's not a spree.
Right.
Come on, man.
It's a spree. If it is,
that's a double murder.
Well, you call the FBI, argue with them, okay? Because this is what, once again, all right, I called the FBI. I said, listen, give me the difference between the serial killer and the spree killer. They gave me this stuff.
They got it wrong.
They got it wrong?
Government? You trust the government out?
Of course. Of course. I talked to them because they bugged every room in my house. So I talk to them every night. But, it's a spree killing, 2 or more. But I like this, the cooling off period. So that is the differentiation between that and a serial killer.
Well, what it does is the cooling off period now gives you time to premeditate the second killing.
That's the reason why.
First degree killings instead of one spree killing.
Yep. So isn't it very interesting that this is the differentiation between the spree killer and then, of course, the serial.
I do think the FBI profilers, for the most part, do a pretty good job. They totally messed up on the sniper. Remember the sniper down in D.C.
The D.C. right, the Washington.
They had that one totally wrong. They had ages, race, background. They had the whole thing totally messed up on that one. But usually the profiles are relatively accurate, but it's usually the same profile, isn't it? Right?
Well, it's interesting. You bring up about the sniper case. The sniper case is interesting because they decided to do the first trial in Virginia. Okay, even though he had done more shootings in Maryland and in the Washington, D.C. area. And they went with Virginia because that was the stronger case. And they figured if they convicted him in Virginia, then the other cases would be able to be folded in a lot easier.
The other thing that they got wrong with the D.C. sniper is that there were 2 of them.
Right. There was him and
his apprentice.
Right. Well, that's why these terms are, like I said, serial killer is person or persons. Spree killer is person or persons. So they've not delineated it to just being one person.
But the DC sniper would be a serial spree, right? Because they're going after more than one victim at once, but in a serial-like fashion.
It was a serial-like fashion. It wasn't a spree killing because he wasn't shooting. A spree killing would have been if he had a machine gun and he shot everyone at the gas station. Okay, and then just went down the road.
More than one person at a time, aren't they?
He was shooting one at a time. That's how it went. From I remember that there were people at the gas station that he would shoot. He would shoot attendants and things along those lines. Like the I-70.
There would be one target at the, I must be misremembering, but there would just be one target at the gas station. So say there's a gas attendant in like a state like New Jersey where people don't pump their own, and you've got 3 customers there, they would just go after one.
As far as I remember.
Hey, wait a minute, Vinnie. You say that as though we're wrong for not pumping our own gas in the state of New Jersey. And may I remind you of your roots?
Yeah. Let me tell you, I get in and out of the gas station much quicker now that I pump my own. I'm in, I'm out. There's no middleman. I don't have to talk. I don't have to wait with the credit card. I just jump, I swipe, I pump. I can go in because they all have beautiful convenience stores, right? They don't have some stupid place where they try to repair cars. No, they have these beautiful convenience stores. Sometimes they have frozen yogurt stations. They got the hot dogs spinning. And then you've got ones that are like to the extreme. Have you ever been to Buc-ee's? Have you heard of this place, Buc-ee's? I posted a video on it. It is the most amazing rest stop in the world. It's like an amusement park. It's enormous. Have you?
Oh, wait a minute. You just said a rest area is like an amusement park?
Yes. Have you been to Buc-ee's?
I have not been to Buc-ee's.
You've got to watch my video.
I shall.
It's amazing. Al, have you been to Buc-ee's?
No, I've never been to Buc-ee's.
You don't know what it is.
I've been to Wawa. And actually,
I've been to Stuckey's.
You can fit 15 Wawas in one Buc-ee's.
Okay. Well, my little thing with Wawa was that as a snarky child, okay, I decided that I was going to write a skit for Saturday Night Live, okay, and so I wrote a skit for the Roseanne Rosanna, okay,
Gilda Radner,
right? The Gilda Radner, but the character was Roseanne Rosanna, and I said that Roseanne Rosanna at the Wawa in Mawa. Okay, and I thought that was very funny.
That would have been good.
Wasn't that character based on
there's no walks in, and then Baba Wawa walks in,
and then what ended up happening was I said, wait a minute, the Barbara Wawa would be even funnier. So then I resubmitted it as Barbara Wawa at the Wawa in Mawa, okay, as part 2, and I got no response from either. So it was a beautiful thing. So Gilda Radner, she was very mean to me, needless to say.
Well, you should probably make the video yourself and post it online.
And by the way, these were single killings in the situation with regards to the DC sniper.
Well, you wouldn't get away. You wouldn't be able to continue your serialized shootings if you did it in a spree, because the longer you remain on the scene after that first shot is fired, the more likely you are to get caught.
Yeah, but Jonesey,
he did kill 4 in one instance. That was the bloodiest day.
Thank you. That's a spree. That's a spree, Jerry. So there's a spree within their serial killings.
Yeah, but they were in different places. That's why it's not a spree. They were in different places. So he killed 4 in one day, one at a time.
Oh, and it's not he, it's they. There's 2 of them.
Well, I'm just saying that there was 2 of them, but the question as to how much the other kid was doing the shooting and stuff like that has always been a bit of an issue.
So tell me this. So how would this work? If you've got 2 snipers and they kill 2 per killing location, is that a spree, or do you divide by the 2 killers? So it's just 1 per. What does the FBI say about that? Have they thought about the math on that?
Well, let me see if I can get them on the phone. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, like Jonesy, what would you
Hello?
If it's 2 killers and 2 victims, or is that 2 serial killers or 2 spree killers?
No, because they classify it as shooter or shooters. So they classify it in the plural, and then they also in the singular. So it would only be...
That's because they don't know. But if you know that there's 2 shooters and each shooter is killing one, let's take it to the next level here, Al. And this we should put this on the SATs or the LSATs.
Oh,
what if you had 2 serial killers at the same time, not knowing each other, but both attacking the same place in consecutive killings? So you had 2 serial killers in 2 different...
That met by accident?
Attacking the same route coincidentally.
Well, that's interesting.
See, I didn't think of that, did I?
But because that's not going to happen. That's why I didn't think of it. It's like a daily double or a double header.
Well, anything is... I work at Court TV. Anything is possible.
I think there has to have been... I'm sure that these guys... There must be some sort of a meetup spot at something. Because you see a lot of these guys are truck drivers. So, you see that they've got... and where they go? They go to your place, but Ducky's or Bucky's or whatever the hell that
Bucky's.
is.
And nobody knows more about truck drivers than Jonesey. Jonesey was the king of the trucker channel.
Yes, I know. I know him was. He had the radio show was, and in fact, I was on that show with him a couple of times.
Well,
but
but they're more easily traced also. But yes, that is true. But when the investigators start to find out that you were dropping off a load in like Indiana when something happened, and then you also happen to be in Buffalo when something similar happened, I think it makes it very much easier. I mean, they can't pay cash for their diesel. They're using credit cards. They're on highways using like easy passes and stuff like that. I guess they could try to go around that, but they're going to get caught pretty quickly if they're
these days
registered trucker.
Right.
Yeah,
these days.
But back in the old days, I bet there were a bunch of truckers.
There were. I mean, I was watching the other night on the I-70 killer, where they haven't found yet. And he very well could have been a truck driver going up and down, because what did he do? He would kill people at the most bizarre places and then be on the road. So, they're transients that have no place to live, no place to find them, and they're always going. So, like, to jump onto Vinnie's point, they could conceivably be sitting at the same truck stop one time, okay, and just, maybe comparing some notes.
That would be a great plot for a movie. You have to be a comedy, though, right? Where the 2 serial killers end up at the same rest stop and they're staking out the same victim.
Let's see who gets it first.
Let me ask you this, though. If there were 2 killers on I-35, could you call them the I-70 killer?
Or the 17.5?
Yeah, I think it would be 17.5.
If you had 2 killers on... Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's half of that. If it was, if it was I-70, it was 2, it would be the I-35.
Gotcha. Then it would be the I-35 killer.
Yeah. New Jersey Turnpike screws everything up. So just go with
I-95.
Now, yeah, but who calls it that?
Calls it I-95. Most of the country, though, they go by the numbers for the most part.
Yeah, except New Jersey. We go by the Parkway and we go by the New Jersey Turnpike.
So I think it's probably because of the tolls. It is I-95, but it's called the Turnpike because, it's a paid highway.
It's called that because that's what Simon and Garfunkel said in the great song, driving along the New Jersey Turnpike. They've all come to look for America.
Chuck Berry also name checks the New Jersey Turnpike.
Who does?
Chuck Berry.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Jonesy, C.W. McCall, in his epic song, does he mention the Jersey Turnpike?
Yes.
He does.
And no, he doesn't mention the New Jersey. He doesn't mention, no. Convoy?
Yes, he does.
He mentions New Jersey Turnpike?
He does. Yeah.
Is that when they bust the gate doing 98?
Yes.
Big Bear, this rubber duck.
Yeah. Love that song.
We got a great big convoy going through the night.
That was a plan.
Everyone in. Day two, beautiful sight.
So Smokey and the Bandit are, there were trucking songs about trucking. There were movies about it.
Speaking of which, once again, that movie, it just, Jackie Gleason steals that movie.
Oh,
absolutely steals that film. I mean, just remarkable how funny he is in that.
But Burt Reynolds had an incredible charm. Yeah.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. But it's like anything else. You've got a scenario where you've got an incredible comedic actor who does not have the starring role, but steals the scenes that he's in. And that's a great character actor. If you look in, it's a mad world. Okay. You have a great ensemble cast, but there are certain people in that cast that steal the scenes. And that was what makes it, so wonderful to watch.
I heard that.
I'll give you some updates. Go ahead, Jonesy.
I heard that Gleason was considered for the Popeye Doyle French Connection character, and that he couldn't do it because he was doing something else, likely Smoking the Bandit. And it would be a totally different movie because Gene Hackman is like very physical in that movie. He's running constantly, like there are foot chases. And if Jackie Gleason's playing the part, you've got to totally like revamp that role.
Yeah, no, that would never work. Eddie Egan didn't look anything like Jackie Gleason. The only difference was that Jackie Gleason was also from New York, but that would have been it. I mean, Eddie Egan is the character that Popeye Doyle is based on.
And is he from Murray Hill?
What? I'm sorry?
Was he from Murray Hill, Jackie?
No, Jackie Gleason. I thought he was from Benson.
And they would make the phone calls. Wouldn't they always say Murray Hill something?
Oh, but that was the Murray Hill 56969.
Yeah. And Court TV was in Murray Hill.
Yes. I lived in Murray Hill briefly.
But the Cramden's apartment was in Bensonhurst.
It was in Bensonhurst.
Yes, it was in Bensonhurst.
Is it Hoist? Is that how you say Hoist? It's in
Bensonhurst. Don Bosco's playing Erasmus Hall in 2 weeks in football. And they're in Flatbush. As a school, I always wanted to go see because of the incredible, alumni.
Now, the Lords of Flatbush. The Lords of Flatbush. Name them all, Jonesy. Name them all.
Ken Wall, Henry Winkler, Sylvester Stallone.
Perry King. But no one remembers Perry King?
No.
What, in the Lords of Flatbush?
I love the movie.
Perry King was the main role.
Yeah, but look at how you got the Fonz, you've got Rocky, and you've got Wise Guy. With the other actors.
Was Kinnicky there too? Was Kinnicky in the world?
No, Jeff Conaway.
Yeah.
No. Kinnicky from Kinnicky is like a Hallmark cards when you care enough to send the very best.
Yeah.
But Erasmus Hall.
Pregnant. Did you think she was pregnant?
What? She was too old to be pregnant.
In Greece?
In Greece.
How old was she?
Dr. Channing was like 47 at the time of that movie. Okay?
You would have had to have, what's the test they do for women who get pregnant a little older? Amnio? She would have had to.
Yeah, Amnio. But Erasmus Hall, let me just bring this out. I'll just bring it up. Neil Diamond is from Erasmus Hall. Barbara Streisand is from Erasmus Hall. And an idol of all three of us, Mo, of the Three Stooges, went to Erasmus.
Was he Jewish too?
I'm sorry?
Yes. He Jewish too?
Mo? Yes, he was. Oh, yeah. They were all Jewish. All Three Stooges were Jewish. Nope, that's it. So, all right, we've learned a valuable lesson today. Serial killer, spree killer. It's time to go. Right, exactly. What are you toots? Yeah.
Thank you for watching the Tangent Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, follow and share the podcast with all your friends. On behalf of Al, Vinnie, and Jonesy, have a wonderful day.